Corals are invertebrate animals belonging to a large group of colorful and fascinating animals called Cnidaria, as they contain nematocysts for cell defense in their tentacles. Coral are deposits of limestone or calcium carbonate found by Coelenterata. Coelenterata is another term for the phylum Cnidaria, as the gastrovascular cavity is found in them. Corals are generally marine, mostly colonial, polyploid coelentrates. They are calcareous. Horny skeleton is also formed known as corals. Some corals grow in massive solid structures, others form large branched colony. Most of the corals belong to the class Anthozoa. The basic morphological unit is the clear polyp body with central mouth surrounded by the stingy tentacles.
Examples of corals are Millipora, Alcyonium, and Gorgonia. There are two types of corals, hard corals and soft corals. Hard corals form a colony and serve as a primary component of the coral reef. Coral reef contains thousands of coral polyps that are connected to each other. They are made up of calcium carbonate and deposits to form a hard skeleton. These coral reefs are important because they provide an underwater ecosystem for various small marine animals. They also provide ecological partnership with zooxanthellae, which are dinoflagellate endosymbionts and are sometimes responsible for the coloration of the reef. The another one is soft coral that do not produce coral reefs and lack the hard skeleton. Symbiosis with zooxanthellae is also not frequent in them. The examples are sea fans, sea feathers, and sea vipers. Structure of corals. Corals are made up of many tiny animals called polyps. They are less than 1 centimeter across. Thousands of polyps live together in groups and secrete a calcium carbonate which forms the skeleton. The basal disc is absent and it is surrounded by a calcareous exoskeleton. Muscles are poorly developed while nervous system is also little known. They feed at night. When not feeding, they withdraw into cup-like cavities of skeleton. This is the structure of one polyp. This is the tentacles. Here we can see this the nematocyte which is present inside the tentacles for the defense mechanism, and between the tentacles mouth is present. This mouth extends to the gastrovascular cavity, which is layering is gastrodermis, and the outer layer ectodermis known as epidermis. As they are diploblastic, the mesoderm layer is not fully developed. They are having the digestive filaments, septum, theca, and these are the basal plates.
The structure of coral skeleton is known as corallite. They are the calcareous exoskeleton secreted by the epidermis of the corals. A single polyp skeleton is called corallite, and the entire colony skeleton or a group of corallites are known as corallum. The bottom of the cup or cavity of cup contains a number of vertical radiating ridges known as sclerosepta, that is proceeding from the theca towards the center of the.
Now the question is how these coral skeletons are formed. As we know, coral polyps, the sexual reproduction takes place by the fusion of gametes which forms the zygote. Zygote develops into free-swimming planula larva which settle down and metamorphoses into a young coral polyp. There was no medusa stage, but by asexual budding, single polyp becomes the parent of all members of the colony. They begin to secrete the skeletal rudiment which forms the prototheca. It is secreted by ectoderm, then the basal plate. It then forms the sclerosapta, which usually alternates with the mesenteries of the polyps. Coral colony grows in size continuously by budding of new polyps, particularly along the margin and on the surface layer of coral masses. This is how the corals are formed.
On the basis of their class, the corals are divided into following types. First is hydrozone corals. They include the genera like Millipora, which are colonial and secrete massive branched calcareous exoskeleton. They are found in coral reefs with other corals. Skeleton is secreted by the modified epidermis called calcioblastic layer. Second is octocorallian corals that are also known as anthozone corals. It includes the Alcyonium, as it is resembles the human hand, so also known as dead man's fingers. Another is Stolonifera, which includes the organ pipe coral, which is also known as stony corals. And there are many more. Other is the Gorgonia corals, which is plant-like colony. Horny corals known as looks like a sea fan. Apart from this, there are other corals like hexacorallian corals, solitary corals, and colonial corals. Hexacorallian corals are the true corals. Solitary corals are the cup-like structure or mushroom-shaped corals, whereas colonial corals are the stony corals. They are vase-shaped skeleton.
Coral polyps forms the coral reef. Generally, there are three main types of coral reef. First is fringing reef. It is a reef that forms around a land mass. Second is the barrier reef. A barrier reef is a coral reef parallel to the shore but is separated by a channel of water known as lagoon. Third type is the atoll. It is a ring-shaped coral reef or a horseshoe-shaped coral reef consisting of a coral ring that encircles a lagoon. Example of coral reefs are Great Barrier Reef of Australia and the Lakshadweep Coral Reef of India. Coral bleaching is the process where corals expel the algae living in their tissues, turning them white due to stress from changes in water temperature, light, or salinity. Today, this is the most concern that most of the organisms lives in the coral reef.